Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey there, everybody, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. I may have a Lions hat on, but I got a baseball shirt on, and we're the Caught Looking Podcast. And I'm here with my friend and director of baseball content over at drroto.com, Lou Landers. Lou, this is a big week here. The Pittsburgh Pirates bringing up the greatest pitcher, Paul Skeens. I get some Doc Gooden vibes here, like this. I mean, remember when Doc came up and it was must-watch baseball? Is Skeens must-watch baseball as well?
Well, two things. One, I wasn't born yet when Doc came up, so I really can't attest to it. But I've obviously seen tons of video. I was fortunate enough to watch him when he came over to the Yankees eventually. Great pitcher. Yeah, Skeens is much-watch baseball. Absolutely. And I think obviously expectations are so high. I still think they have to be tempered a little bit because this is still a guy making his debut. I think people should be thrilled if he can match what Jared Jones has done this year for the Pirates. And Jared Jones has been outstanding. Don't get me wrong. But I think people are expecting Skeens to be even better than that. And maybe he will be. But if you get Jared Jones from Paul Skeens, you should be elated.
I think people are expecting that. I really do. Let me get his numbers for you here in AAA. That they are literally microscopic. So right now, he's 27 and a third. He's let up 17 hits, 1 home run, 45 strikeouts to 8 walks, 0.99 ERA, 0.92 WHIP. That is unheard of.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And the only thing I would say, and it's not because of anything to do with his skill set and what he can do, innings. How many innings are we going to see? They were very careful in the minors to not really have him go too much, only over the last start or two. And you could probably confirm it for me if you have that page up, that he'd go more than 5 innings. Usually
he went 6. He was going, so ready, 3, 3 and a third, 3 and a third, 4 and a third, 6, 4 and a third. I think it's going to be the number of pitches, not innings. And I think we're looking at about, I'll play it conservative, 70 innings, because he's already thrown 27. So let's give him 100 for the season. Let's just say he's amazing, which I'm hoping he is. Is that 10 starts, 70 innings, or is it 12 starts?
Probably 14 starts.
All right, 14 starts.
Let's assume 5 innings per start.
Okay. How many wins is he getting out of? Is he getting 14 wins? The Pirates can't hit.
He could get 9 wins. He could get 3. Wins is the hardest thing to predict, especially on a bad team. I think what you would get is over 100 strikeouts in those 70 innings, and what should be really good ratios. So, yes. I mean, you're going to like that for sure. It's not really, again, it's not about what he's going to do production-wise, because we know even if he's not excellent, he's going to be good because he is that good. It just comes down to how many innings. And assuming he's a free agent in your league, obviously if he's not, then you already have him, whatever. But it's more about how much are you going to spend on this guy? Probably like 700 fab for 70 to 80 innings. It seems like a hefty price tag for that amount of innings.
I know that's where I am with that, where I'm paying for the strikeouts, and I know I have to be in on the bid. I have to be in on the bid, but I almost feel like I don't want to win, because if I win, it's going to kill my team the rest of the year. And it's, May 10th. It's Mother's Day in a couple of days, Lou. I got to get through, June, July, August, and September. I've got, in the Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational, I got like $650 in fab. I can't be at 3. Even if I was spent $350, I'm not getting Skeens, firstly. And secondly, let's say I get him at $450. Can I make it through the rest of the year at $200?
Doubtful. It's doubtful, especially with the injuries that are going to come up and the moves you're going to have to make. I'm in a tough spot right now. I have Langford on the IL, Grayson on the IL, Wilson Contreras just went down. I'm going to need to cut Wilson Contreras because I just can't afford to keep him on my injured list. And I'm going to have to overspend now on a catcher that might not even be that good. But I don't want zeros out of my catcher spot. And it's one of those things where I'm going to have to overspend, and it probably is going to hurt me later. But I'm doing so well in my league and so well in the overall right now, I don't want to take my foot off the gas.
Now, there was something that I read on social media, so it has to be true, right? If it's on social media, it has to be true. They said that the Cardinals wanted Contreras to be closer to the plate to frame the pitches better. And when JD swung, that's why he got injured and hurt the forearm. Do you buy into any of that?
I do. I've heard that and I've seen that. And I even went back and watched some video on before and after. And I did see a bit of a difference. And it makes a lot of sense with pitch framing being more important than ever now because of how inconsistent the umpires are. Anything you can do to persuade an umpire to give you a strike call now. It won't be so important if they go to robot umps. Pitch framing will be meaningless. But right now, anything you can do makes a difference. So, yeah, I get why they wanted to do that. It's just a very unfortunate situation that happened there. He was probably their only good hitter this season, too.
And didn't Goldschmidt just get hurt, Lou?
What was it yesterday? Because he wasn't hurt before yesterday. He might have gotten hurt yesterday, though. I remember seeing something. I don't know if it was just because they were down late in the game or if it was just like a mild cramping thing or something actually serious.
All right, let's go through the division super quick for a second. Your Yankees are a half game out. Are they playing better than expected? Is this what you expected? I think the Red Sox are playing actually very well. The Rays are disappointing, but are the Yankees doing what you thought they'd be doing?
Before the Cole injury, they're definitely doing what I would have expected after the additions that they made. When Cole got hurt, I had my concerns, but you know what? Everyone's pitching well for them right now. Even Nestor, who hasn't been excellent, he's had some ups and downs, has been fine. Stroman got beat up early yesterday, but then settled down. Rodon's been pretty much what they paid for outside of the Baltimore start. And Schmidt picked up from where he left off last year. And Hill has been outstanding. So they've gone good pitching. Their bullpen's been outstanding as well. And Cole is coming back. And you're getting Conley back. So, yeah, I think the Yankees are where they need to be, but they're not better than the Orioles. They're playing for second place.
And the Orioles, Rodriguez is going to come back. You got Mayo in the minor leagues. You got Hurstad hasn't even really had a shot to hit yet. I mean, they're going to be great. That's a good team. All right, let's look at the Central.
I will say I do think Boston is going to slow down at some point because they're not doing it with their offense. They're doing it with their pitching. And you look up and down that rotation and bullpen, it's been good, especially how can Cutter Crawford. I don't see it lasting. I still think they're the last place team in that division.
Carter Crawford's fantastic. All right, in the Central, the Royals are actually playing pretty good baseball. I picked up Felix Fermin for $1 as a catcher in a league.
Freddie.
What?
Freddie.
Oh, sorry, Freddie. I think Felix Fermin actually played in the league, to be quite honest with you. I think he was a shortstop.
Sounds like somebody who would have played it.
Yeah, maybe it was his dad. I don't know. It was his dad or his cousin. So Freddie Fermin for $1. I like a Freddie Fermin. I like an Austin Wells. Do you like the Royals at all? Because Melendez hasn't gotten a hit.
I do like the Royals a lot, actually. It's funny because I looked at their lineup early this season. I was like, this is really not a bad lineup. At least 1 through 6, 1 through 7. It's pretty good. And we're so used to them since that, Moustakas, Hosmer, Gordon, Zobrist, Sal, those years where they were, in the World Series a couple of times. We're used to the Royals being pretty bad offensively. And I think it came as kind of a shock. But no, they're good. And no one in that division is really outstanding. I do think the Guardians will come down a little bit. The Twins were hotter than ever. I think they won 12 or 13 games in a row. And they were the team that everyone liked the most. But that division is wide open. And I think the Royals, with a couple tweaks here, there are a couple additions throughout the season, could really make a serious play for that division.
Let's say you had MJ Melendez. Do you cut him? Do you hold him? Because this guy literally, he couldn't go to a store and buy a hit. That's how bad it is right now.
I'm definitely not interested in MJ Melendez. And once he lost catcher eligibility, I was completely out on MJ Melendez. And if you play Yahoo, for instance, he's still a catcher. So, yeah, in the 2-catcher league, I'll keep him around and keep him in that slot because it's really not going to be much better out there. But in terms of as an outfielder, hell no. Lucas Beery and I, we have a dynasty team together, and we made sure we traded Melendez last year while he was still a catcher, brought in another young catcher because we knew he was losing that eligibility. And what we cared to have him as a fifth outfielder? Nah.
You gotta love Yahoo. Thanks. You gotta love Yahoo when they keep guys like Melendez as a catcher. It's like, oh. All right. Here's a question for you. What would the odds have been before the season that the A's would have a better record after 39 games than the Astros? Do you think you could have gotten plus like 10,000?
Yeah, probably. I don't think even the most diehard Oakland A's fan would have thought that.
I mean, so let me ask you this. Do you blow up the Astros? What do you do? Congratulations. I just made you the general manager of the Astros. Do you blow this up? Because I look at the team, Bregman, Altuve, Diaz, Alvarez, Kyle Tucker. I don't think I want to blow this up. I think I want to just leave it.
I think you don't blow it up, but I think you absolutely make some serious moves. You're not getting rid of Altuve. He's the face of that franchise at this point, and he just signed a big extension. Tucker, no way you're getting rid of. Alvarez, no way you're getting rid of. Pena, still a bunch of years of control. Diaz, one of the best offensive catchers in baseball. Those 5, that's your core. So you don't unload them. But Bregman's about to be a free agent. He's struggling, so you're not going to get the best value. Hader, you just gave a huge contract to, but everyone could use a guy like Josh Hader. If you can trade him and get something, you do it. Framber Valdez, he's not young. He's good, but he's not young. You can trade him. Christian Javier, he's not old. He's not young. You can trade him. Verlander, 100% should be on the move, and it's easier to move him because the Mets are still paying a bunch of that contract, and you could pay.
So we trade Verlander, we trade Hader, right?
Framber, Javier, and Bregman. All 5 of those guys. You could trade, and I would personally do it if I'm the new GM of the Astros. Thank you for the job offer.
Yeah.
And I would do it, and I would completely I wouldn't rebuild. I would reload.
And who's the closer than Brian Abreu?
Presley's still there. You could probably try to trade him too, but yeah, Brian.
I would definitely trade Presley. Isn't Presley like 33, 34 years old? Yeah. I'm trading that dude.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, I may pick up Brian Abreu in leagues just in case you don't stash him there.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea, and he got off to a bad start, but he's got really good stuff still. He was so good last year. But why not make these moves if you're the Astros? It's not like the Rangers are getting better. The Mariners are going to be good for a while, so it's not like you can next year you win 85, 87 games and go out and do great things again. Not that they can't, but most teams that have the type of dynasty that the Astros had at some point hit that wall where guys get a little older, or they're paying guys a little too much money, and
just
things start to and they're in a position where they still have a core that they could, as I said, retool, not rebuild.
Right. All right. By the way, did I tell you my newest Facebook friend? Steve Cohen, owner of the Mets.
Okay.
Did you know? I didn't know this. Yeah, Steve and I are buds. I'm going to have to give him some baseball advice here.
Yeah, well, he's paying part of Verlander's contract still, so that will actually help the Astros to maybe move him.
Now, what about – here's a question for you. With all these guys coming up and all the injuries, there was a rumor there that the Rays are not rushing Junior Caminero anytime soon. What about my boy James Wood? Because I'm ready to see him, but it feels like the Nationals are playing way better than expected, and maybe Wood is not being rushed. And here it says he won't be rushed to the majors ahead of their schedule for him. Bobby Blanco of MASN says literally yesterday, Lou.
Yeah, that's what it kind of looks like, because it's funny because they're playing better than expected. So you can look at it one of two ways. don't mess with it, let it ride. You could also look at it as, well, let's add one of the best young offensive prospects in baseball and get even better.
Right.
Clearly, at this point, they're letting it ride.
I mean, he's hitting 344 right now with 5 home runs and 9 steals. Are you telling me that doesn't play in the majors right now?
Of course it plays in the majors right now. And Jacob Young is not going to keep up this pace. I mean, I have a bunch of draft and hold shares, so I would love if he did. Good on base percentage, stolen base, but he's not going to keep that up. And Lane Thomas is injured. And when Lane Thomas went down, I was like, okay, bring on James Wood. Nope.
I know. I was expecting him to come up. I know.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at the Central there. I know we talked about the Pirates before. The Brewers are playing pretty well. The Cubs are hanging in there. I think the Cubs are a very sneaky team, and Shota Imanaga. So let me ask you about my boy Shota. One of the things I said at the beginning of the year, I made a prediction on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. I said Imanaga and Yamamoto would be a lot closer than people thought. Now Justin Steele's back. Imanaga is there. Would you trade Imanaga at the All-Star break? Or would you just hold him and say, look, this dude is so good, he may win the Cy Young right now?
I would probably look to see what I could get for him as a fantasy owner, because a lot of times we do see guys come over and the first few months, there's just not a lot of book on them. There's not as much video and tape on them. Adjustments are usually made. So do I think that Shota is going to continue to be a beast? Yeah, he could be. He looked so good. But there is also a strong possibility that maybe in the second half he has, a 4.20 ERA. Not bad, but certainly not close to what he's doing right now. So, yeah, he could be a nice sell high guy, because I do think that these guys are adjusted to, and eventually they don't, I guess, maintain their success. Yamamoto, on the other hand, I can actually see him getting better, because I do believe he has better stuff and is a better pitcher.
Yeah, he's going to get better. He's going to get better.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you about a Cub, Hayden Wesneski, kind of guy I liked last year. Been pretty good this year.
Post hype,
he should be out there in Fab. I think when people are bidding on Skeens, maybe I slide in there with Wesneski for a couple of bucks and see where that takes me.
So my only concern, because I really do believe he's post-hype. I liked him when he was a prospect with the Yankees. I liked him in 2022. He pitched really well. Last year, obviously, scared people off. This year, been great. But Kyle Hendricks is supposed to be back in a week or two. And as bad as Kyle Hendricks is, the Cubs are probably going to move Wesneski to the bullpen to make room for Kyle Hendricks. It would be a huge mistake, in my opinion.
I think it's going to happen.
Cubs fans would agree, but it's probably going to happen. So all of a sudden, do you really want to spend money on Wesneski? I mean, if it's $5 in Fab, go for it. And maybe another injury happens. Maybe Hendricks just gets blown up. I think Hendricks is toast. He's not good enough, in my opinion, anymore. I would ride with Wesneski, but I don't think the Cubs do.
Here's my thing. Jameson Taillon, when he's good, he's really good. But he does get hurt a lot. Do I think Jameson Taillon's going to finish this year with 150 innings? I think I'd bet the under on that one. But I'm with you on Wesneski. I thought about that. I almost picked him up last week, and then I saw Hendricks is going to be back. They put money into Hendricks. At some point, baseball's frustrating. See, football's different than baseball to me. In that football, at some point, the contract doesn't matter because they're not guaranteed. They cut the guy, and they play the young player. In baseball, it's like, oh, Kyle Hendricks, you're 48 years old? Throw him out there for another 6 innings. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and we're going to see it happen probably with my Yanks, because Jason Dominguez, he's going to be back soon at some point, probably in June, it looks like now. And what do? You're not going to sit Verdugo, Judge, or Soto, and they pay Stanton so much money. So we're going to see it. They're not just going to give Dominguez all these at-bats. So I don't know what's going to happen there. He should be their center fielder. So you can put Judge or Soto and Wright in DH. But Stanton is a big problem. And Stanton's not even that bad. People give him a lot of flack. Yeah, he can't run. He honestly needs a walker to get around the bases. But the dude's still going to hit 25 home runs or 30 home runs.
I know, but is that what you're paying him for? Giancarlo Stanton's going to hit 25 home runs. Way to go. I mean, that just seems like, I don't know, most guys can hit 20 home runs. It's not special. Dominguez can hit 15 or 16 or 17 or 20. So
Dominguez is already a better player to me than Stanton is. But money speaks in baseball. And that just goes to your point. And that's why Hendricks is going to get his rotation spot back instead of going with the young guy with lots of potential in Wisniewski.
Speaking of money speaks, how much money is Juan Soto going to make?
550, 600 million.
Are the Yankees going to pay it?
I think they'll offer something very close to it. Yeah.
It's a great stadium. It's a great stadium for him to hit in.
It's a great stadium for him. It's a great he's not the type of guy that's going to shy away from New York. You're seeing it. He's actually raising his level of play, if that was even possible. So he's a perfect fit there. It just comes down to, is someone going to offer 600 million? Maybe not as good of a landing spot or a team around him. And how much does it matter? Does he want to be a Yankee for life kind of thing? That's 530 million.
What are
New York Met for 575 million?
Right. So I mean, it's the Mets, the Dodgers. That's it. I don't know who else is going to spend it.
He won't sign an extension, though. I really highly doubt that. Even if the Yankees today handed him a contract, $550 million for the next, I don't know, what's called 12 years, 13 years, whatever, he's not going to sign that now. He's going to wait till free agency.
And maybe he should. But I'm saying realistically, you're talking about the Mets, Yankees, and Dodgers. Am I missing a team? I mean, I don't think the Red Sox are paying $500 million for him.
The Red Sox wouldn't keep Mookie Betts and Xander Bogaerts, their own guys, for less money.
Would Toronto pay $500 million?
Maybe for Ohtani, but that would have been it.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know whether Juan Soto has a lot of addresses to go to.
No, but all he needs is 2, and he has at least 3.
Right. Good point. You said that to me, too, when I had to pay you your big contract in the offseason. Brutal. All right. Let's talk about tonight's DFS, Lou. Do we spend tonight for the Rangers in Colorado? I mean, let me tell you what I don't like about the Rangers tonight. Nothing. I love them tonight. Semien, Garcia, Heim, load them up, baby. Austin Gomber. I mean, Gomber can throw a good game every now and then he can get shelled and let up 8 runs in 2 innings, and you're going to want those 8 runs.
You definitely are. And what's interesting is that you actually could potentially find some cheap Rangers to get in there, too. Ezekiel Duran, first and third base eligible, super cheap facing a lefty. And Leody Tavares, super cheap for Coors. And with a lefty on the mound, you might even see newly acquired Robbie Grossman get in to the lineup. And he is super cheap. So you could probably pick 2 of the cheap Rangers to then get your Adolis and Seager and Semien.
Wasn't Robbie Grossman with them last year, right?
He was with them in the past and then moved on to other things and is now back with them. I think they probably made the move because of the Langford injury, and Evan Carter has struggled a little bit recently as well. So, and that's another thing with the lefty on the mound. Carter might not get the start tonight. It could be someone like Robbie Grossman.
Doesn't Robbie Grossman kill lefties, like literally kill them?
He used to, and he's always had a good on-base percentage too, but he's $3,100 in Coors Field, Doc. If he gets into the lineup tonight, I mean, that's a serious move. And Ezekiel Duran is $3,300 against a lefty in Coors at first or third base, which is wild. I mean, that's a guy you absolutely have to play tonight, whether you go with Rangers or not.
All right, so maybe I go Garcia, Heim, Grossman, Duran. You like that?
I would probably go 5 on a stack like this.
Do I get Semien in there?
Yeah, I'd go with Semien or Seager. Probably Semien, although I do also like the Phillies tonight, sneakily. And I even like the Braves too, because Quintana's terrible. And with the Phillies, I don't think a lot of people are necessarily going to be on them, because you look at Trevor Rogers and you think, Trevor Rogers is a pretty solid pitcher. And sometimes he is, but sometimes he's not. And the Phillies can really hit the baseball. Really, really hit the baseball. And you look at Rogers.
Yeah, when the Phillies start hitting, it's like an avalanche. I mean, that's how
it is. And Rogers was good for the first four and a half starts, but he hasn't been good lately. And as recently as his last start, when things start to go bad for him, they get really bad. And I know they're playing reasonably good baseball right now, the Oakland A's, which is obviously shocking. He gave up 8 earned runs in 2 1/3 against the A's, and now he's going to face the Phillies, who are now. I think the Phillies might be the best team in baseball.
Phillies are playing great.
Yeah.
I will give you a starter I like tonight, and I will give you a sneaky stack. I'm going to play Ric Flair's favorite pitcher, Brian. Woo! 100% playing it. And I think he can get 5 or 6 innings against Oakland, probably get about 8 strikeouts. So, I mean, the problem with that is I get about 36 points on FanDuel. I want more, but I could live with 36 points. I kind of like the Guardians against Crochet, who can be really good or really bad.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of inconsistency from Crochet recently, for sure. It's funny because I don't hate that call, but I also kind of like the idea of playing him because of the strikeouts.
Right.
He has that potential for, 19, 20, 25 points. Only 1 start in his last 5 has he struck out less than 6. So he's pretty consistent in that regard. I got to tell you, though, my favorite pitcher tonight is actually Logan Webb. Good overall, but in San Francisco, this guy is just ridiculous, Doc. He has a 0.82 ERA, 0.91 whip, 225 batting average against. No, he's not a huge strikeout guy necessarily, but he pitches really good at home. And for 85,
if he goes 7 innings and gets 5 or 6 strikeouts in the win, are you paying up for Glass now tonight?
If I'm making a bunch of lineups, you have to have Glass now, for sure. And if I'm making just a single entry, no, I'm not going to go with him. I'm going to go with Logan Webb and maybe a guy like Lou. And you know what's interesting? If you're going to play in tournaments, John Gray. I know it might sound crazy because he's going to Coors, but firstly, remember, he was once a pitcher for the Rockies.
Right.
So in terms of visitors going there, he's one of the guys you trust a little more. Obviously.
And the Rockies stink.
That end, have you seen what John Gray's done recently? Because it's been ridiculous. 2 earned runs, 1 earned run, 1 earned run. This was appearance, 1 earned run,
like
1 earned run.
See, it's counterintuitive because you think pitcher in core is bad, but he may be the one guy to worry about there. I like it.
In tournaments, 7,200. He's cheap. He's been pitching so well. The Rockies are not good. And you know what? Maybe he gets 5 really strong innings.
Right.
And that's enough at his price tag.
Yeah.
Because sometimes starters do okay in Coors and then the bullpen blows up. Because we've talked about it before. It can be 3-2 through 6 innings, and the game can end 10-8.
Right. That's what you love as a DFS player.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Good catching up on the caught look pocket. Caught look. Why can't I get those words out today? Caught look pocket. Caught looking pocket.
I want to say one more thing.
Yes.
And then I'll give you another try at saying caught look.
Well, I'm done. I'm retired. I'm done.
So sometimes in fantasy, it's as important to see who is dropped as it is to see who is picked up.
Sure.
And I recently saw James Outman dropped in a couple of my leagues. And in a 10 or 12 team league, I get it. There's a lot of players on the waiver wire. But in a 15 team league, you cannot be irresponsible enough to drop a guy like James Outman, even though he's been so bad to begin the season. Because this is the type of guy that at any moment can go on a run of 2, not just good, elite months. And if he's out there, if someone dropped a player like James Outman, he's out there, please go get him. Because at some point, this guy is going to find his stride at the plate in an amazing lineup with the Dodgers, and he is going to go on a serious tear. And you are going to have yourself possibly an outfield too for free off the waiver wire.
I think your advice was great also that you should always look at the drops in your league. because people forget that. Everybody looks at the waivers, but sometimes you miss a player, and you should always write down the guys who are dropped just so you have it on a sheet of paper for the next week, or you put it on your notes on your phone, or you put it on your computer, because you don't want to overlook anybody. And I would agree with you. All it takes is one injury, and all of a sudden Outman's back starting again, and you're going to wish you had him.
Yeah, and you know what? Ezekiel Duran was dropped a couple weeks ago, and I have my eye on him because Langford going down, Jung is still out. Duran, we know what he can do when he's hot. Right. And he's been playing more recently, batting over 400 the past 2 weeks. Another guy that if he's out there, he shouldn't have been dropped. Pick him up.
For sure. All right, everybody. Appreciate you listening. Good luck tonight. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. And we'll be back next week. For Doc and Lou, be well and take care.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.